Are you waiting for permission so you can go? Are you wanting me to compliment your gifts or your spark and what I see in you so you can go? Or are you choosing today to be that yourself, to be that go-giver yourself? I allow myself to go. I cheer myself on to go. I saw my art myself. I saw my heart myself. You see, sometimes we post out content and we post out videos and then we wait for the approval. We wait for someone to kind of say, wow, this flower is best flowers. And then you're like, oh, people like flowers, so I paint flowers. Wow, this really changed my life. And then you maybe start doing that. Okay, you seek from the external validation, but what do you see from the inside that's actually in you unfolding? And do you then really need the external permission? I was learning video editing. I looked up CapCut YouTube channel. When I was watching all these videos, I was kind of curious as to what people kind of write, what questions they had. When I looked at the comments, I was like, okay, wow, so many negative comments. Oh, CapCut is dysfunction, not right working, blah, 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 blah. Used to be so good, now it's blah. It's so expensive now, it used to be free. Why it's now with money? There were so many negative comments and they didn't care about that negative comments. They just continued the journey. They kind of even ignored it where I was like, why do they not respond to that even? Sometimes they responded to some comments, but I realized they responded to comments that were really of value, where people really had a question or some update. But most likely they weren't focusing on that. They didn't care maybe about if people think it's expensive, because expensive to whom's wallet, you know. For some people it's affordable. Maybe people don't know how much they pay into that app actually to pay all the team and pay all the stuff. So there's a reason they make it with money. And if you're so unsatisfied, there are free apps, right? You can use iMovie on your iPhone, or I don't know, there are free apps available. So why to blame the one? The request could still be a bit kinder, maybe like, hey, can you put out a student price, please? Because I'm currently a student, I only earn that much money, would be so kind. But it was more like hatred. I was watching them like, you know, from the beginning, so 2 years ago, same. Well, it didn't even change. But you know what changed? CapCut grew. And CapCut got more famous and more used. And they evolved. They put AI into it. They always put out the new products they were rolling out. And you know what I then thought? Imagine this app would go with approval of people. Like they would be, you know, some people when they get hater comments, they kind of like, oh, people really don't like what I do. I need to stop it. Actually, 4 years of people hating on the internet, but I think what they were seeing still downloads were getting through. So I can say, okay, they at least got the downloads. People were downloading the app all the time, so they might get some approval from there. You're not saying that they didn't have any, or maybe some famous YouTubers were recommending them because they were using the app and stuff. But they were focusing, so they put their energy and focus there and kind of ignored the haters and the naysayers. Wow, how many of us would actually have given up if we would received so much hatred? Imagine you make videos and people just complaining. They still continued the YouTube channel. They just ignored it and put out the next video. So they just kept going. And then I realized, you know what? Why actually have we to listen to any of these things from the external? If you know what you do is right, if you know what you do is helping people, then you don't need that. So there was also some conclusion I got from it. I said, you know what, Sky? Imagine one day you put out your product, any product or a course about self-love, how to love yourself, what I always wanted to do, actually, and still not done it, you know, about self-love kind of course. Imagine people say bad things. Would that stop you? Or would you just believe in the message of self-love? And even though 7 people say, oh my God, the course was way too long, the course is way too expensive, or something like that. And would that maybe make you, oh, people don't seem to like it? Or maybe would the downloads or people who still buy it be enough encouragement? I just asked myself, like, do I have to have that validation from the external, or can I be just my biggest fan and supporter and just let it roll, or just continue and have the strength not to dim my light because of all that external stuff that's coming through from some people who think like that? Anyways, what I did was, when CapCut put out new videos, I was the positive commenter. So I said, you know, leave some love up there since you're learning from them. And I said, wow, thank you so much. I really love to edit with your app. I love the tools so much. Thank you, blah, blah, blah. And when I once was actually dissatisfied with something, I said, make this a little bit valuable so it can help them. Not just something about, oh, this is so bad and that I hate it. Instead, just say, hey, I have this problem with the keyframe which I had. So when I put the keyframe in 1 and 10, it changes the filter. So my filter kind of goes away and comes back. So then I have it uneven. Oh, that would be so helpful. Maybe in your next update, can you pay attention to that? And then they responded me very kindly and say, hey, thank you so much for your valuable insights and taking the time to write that, because I took some time to explain it to them, in the comment section. And they said, okay, we will consider that. I will give this to the team. They will have a look into that. And I said, oh, how nice is this? I kind of like that, giving some valuable content instead of hatred. And also, I was watching some of Elon Musk's stuff on X.com because I was trying to figure out X.com. I watched some of Elon Musk's videos because he got also a lot of hatred for X.com, right? Everyone, oh, I miss Twitter, this is so, But then I said, okay, this is a smart man, like, why would he do this if so many people complain? What's his vision behind it? What is he seeing what they don't maybe see? Oh, he has an inspiration that he saw in China from WeChat or something, and he tries to turn X.com into that. It's something new. We don't have it yet. So it's something he wants to create in America or in Europe. I don't know where else he wants to. But in China, they're using it. It's very successful. Doesn't mean that because in China it's successful, it will be successful in America, right? Or in Europe. He still kind of gives it a go. And even though he receives so much hatred, he seems to kind of block this totally out, And it's so interesting how he's able to do that, because his following is even more massive. He's also totally okay with not many people using X.com, I feel, but of course he also put a pricing, so you can buy premium, then you can support the website, blah, blah. In his interviews, get some people asking very, very weird questions where I was even like blushing. He answers still in a kind manner. I just imagine, would that happen to me? I would kind of feel weird, like if I would be Ellen, if someone would out of the blue ask me something so personal when I was speaking about tech. I just realized that people who want to do great things or big things or do business, they will always have these people, they do kind of into the you want to go just but you will always have the like you will have these other sounds, disturbances, let's say. You will have things happening, you will have questions that just kind of like weird things happening. And how do you deal with that? So I asked myself, wow, I mean, do I have the strength if I would build something so big and people are hating on me and asking me this kind of very personal questions, or trying to put me down, or trying to make me blush in front of the camera? Or with actors, they often want the actors to cry. That's why many actors didn't feel comfortable to be interviewed, because people always would try to go into their wounds to make them cry in front of the camera so they have great material. It's also a bit unfair. Or when reporters kind of aggravate the musicians, for example, they aggravate them until the musicians are like, go, and then they have the shot of, get aggressive. It's not nice. I don't think it's good for the unity consciousness or good for the greater good of all. But you know what, Sky? I see a pattern here. I see a pattern that they all got hate, but they handled it different than you did in the past. When I got hatred, it stopped me often, and it made me go into my cave, rethink, heal, come back. I wasn't so quick, or I wasn't so focused still on my goal, like chung, chaka boom, chaka boom, chaka boom, mak, 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 mak. Oh, boom, chaka boom, chaka boom, chaka boom. I was like, okay, boom, chaka boom. So, you know what I mean? Hallelujah. So it took me longer to kind of get over it. I think when you were a thinker, someone that's a lot in your thoughts, kind of taking things too personal maybe. But I realized the patternless people, they weren't taking it so personal, and they were focusing still on the mission. They weren't distracted by it because all they saw was their vision. The external wasn't that important for them. I'm not saying it shouldn't be that much important if we are doing something for the greater good, but they already mapped it out in their head, the greater good. For him is putting the tech out for the greater good of world, if that's his mission, who knows. But, like, they already saw that, so they don't need this kind of things anymore. They might adjust things, of course. He's keep changing on X.com, for example, things and stuff. And CapCut also, for example, when CapCut got the hatred of guidelines and the laws like in the small print. It said something like CapCut owns all the material, can do whatever they want with it, and then people started hating on that, and everyone was putting out, CapCut is doing this with your privacy, and they're like this. And because I was learning, I was like, why did they put out videos since 2 months or over a month? And then I realized, oh, because they're going through this hatred currently. And I was like, oh, okay. I asked ChatGPT brother, I said, ChatGPT, what's going on with CapCut, Well, what's going on there? I don't get it, What do people say that? Will they not put reviews anymore out? Because, I'm just learning this CapCut, I was afraid they delete that or it won't continue, and then I have to, again, relearn a new app. Then ChatGPT said, I think they're just changing now the AGBs and changing now the rules and stuff that people feel, again, protected and calm. And this is exactly what they actually did, because then they put a video out, hey, CapCut is about your privacy. It's important to CapCut. We give you a promise that we will be careful with your personal information. They put these kind of videos out to kind of clean up again, the mess they did, or maybe they did a mistake, or maybe it wasn't clear, I don't know. So they first concentrate on cleaning that a little bit up. Meanwhile, they also worked on the new AI project. So that was why they had a little bit of a break. Guess what? They came back again. But it just took them 2 months. Now think of yourself. How long did it took you to recover from some hatred or some past mistakes, or from some losing a relationship, haters, someone coming against you, losing a friend, whatever? How long do you take to recover? Not saying anything. Everyone take the time you need to recover. But are we maybe taking things too personal and too serious, and is that maybe blocking us? This is my question. What I learned from this experience and from this watching of these situations, like, wow, you don't actually need to go back into your cave and cry and come back after years or months or never. You can actually just don't take it too personal. You can actually just leave it there, and you can, if you want to clean up, you can clean up. Because I also asked ChatGPT, I see a lot of politicians get hatred about these topics, and they never make a comment about it. They don't clean it up, even though it's something major. And I asked why? Do they not care? Is it not important for them? They just continue doing what they do, but they can't ignore all the noise, can they? And ChatGPT said yes, because they don't want to feed that. They don't want to feed the monster, because often when you give it more attention, then people have more to hate about, and then it just continues. But if they don't engage with it, it kind of dies off from itself often. And also because they are focusing on the next steps, and they're so busy with the things they want to put out, that this is also for them waste of time, distraction, So they just allow it to happen. Okay, let them talk, let them say we are evil, we are bad, we are this, we are that. We still do our thing, We still just keep going, and then it dies off, and here we are. Do you still remember what happened last summer? Last winter, I gave you my heart, and the very next day, you break it apart. And while they're still crying, they're like, we put already out a new song. Do you really need that applause? Do you really need that, go get us, go, yeah, the applause? And do you really want to be affected by that? And will you also give the power to the haters and the naysayers, like, boo, boo, bam, bam, pow, and then stop and hide? Or will you just be like CapCut, Elon Musk, and some of these politicians, and just say, you know what, I ignore it today. I'm in the ignority phase, and I just do my thing because I see my vision clearly, and I don't need any external validation. And I also speak this to myself, because I have, unfortunately, always let this affect me, and I don't want to let this affect me anymore. So I'm speaking also to myself. I hope and you learn it. So whatever it is you want to create. For example, a friend just posted recently, showed it to since she is going to be an influencer but has not much followers, people are like, oh, she's making one of an influencer now, look at her. But she owned it, and she still kept going. I'm glad this doesn't kind of dim her light or make her stop. How strong are you, How much can you take in and still go? How much do you believe in yourself and your vision? Can you be your own cheerleader, your own applauding person? And can you be okay, like CapCut, just ignore it and still just continue for 4 years? Some of us wait for that applause to kind of roll out the next thing, right? But maybe we don't need it. So if you have a vision, you want to write a book, you want to do this, you want to do that. Why don't you just do it? And you still just do it. Just keep going, no matter what the external says, just because you believe in yourself, because you are the biggest fan of that, and you believe in that mission. You saw the light. You believe my art is worthy. My art is beautiful. I'm painting something that's meaningful. And you say, it's not meaningful, it's a time of waste. Why would you paint something like that? It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me because I'm evolving, like CapCut evolved, like X.com is maybe evolving into this big thing that his vision is. Maybe not. My project is evolving to just go with our own heart and own trust and owning it. And I have to tell you one more thing, what I recognized. Yin and yang, good and bad. I realized, and I came to this acceptance, that I will always have yay sayers and I will always have naysayers. So my path will be a little bit like that. Well, not say always, because we're in eternity, so it can change one day. Eternity can come a positive place, like planet Earth actually can become maybe more evolved, and then you're kind of like, going with the flow and God consciousness stuff. But currently, it is a little bit more like this. And I think this is also kind of actually soothing to your soul. It can be very soothing to your soul. And I tell you now why. Some people will be jealous of you and will put you down. Some people will maybe have regrets themselves they haven't put out, and then they hate that you do. Some people maybe just have a problem with themselves and can't cheerlead others, so they can't, but they can do the other way very well, so they will give you the support that way and saying, you do something great and I hate it, you do something new and I hate it, which is for you like, oh, thank you for acknowledging. And the other one says, wow, kind of really love that video. Wow, I love this outfit. Oh my God, I love this flower you just painted. The other one, what an ugly flower. Don't paint a flower. Still give you my attention. Can't look away.